My boyfriend said, choose me or the job, after I got my dream promotion. So I packed my bags and showed him what I'm really made of. I, 25F, was offered a promotion that should have been one of the happiest moments of my life. But instead, I walked away from that meeting with a knot in my stomach and the sinking feeling that I might lose someone I love because of it. Let me back up a bit. I've been working for the same company since graduating college 3 years ago. I started off as a coordinator for one of our regional business units, basically a glorified admin who kept everything running behind the scenes. The pay wasn't great, the hours were long, and the work was often invisible. But I gave it everything. I picked up projects no one wanted. I stayed late to learn systems I wasn't trained on. I volunteered for presentations, even though public speaking made my hands shake. I asked for feedback constantly, even when it hurt. I want to grow, not just professionally, but as a person. I wanted to matter in what I did. And year after year, I got promoted. Not always by huge leaps, but enough that I felt seen. My managers noticed. My coworkers started coming to me for guidance. For the first time in my life, I felt like I wasn't faking it. I was good at what I did. Then last month, I got called into a meeting with my director and HR. They offered me a role that I hadn't even dared to imagine yet: global coordinator. I'd be overseeing operations across 4 continents: Europe, Asia, South America, and here in North America. I'd still have a team to support me, but I'd be the primary point of contact, the glue between all these massive moving parts. And the salary? Let's just say it would be life-changing. The only real downside, if you can even call it that, was the travel. About 1 week per quarter, once per region, per year. For weeks total. We're not talking about constant flights or being gone for months. My company actually discourages unnecessary travel to save costs and reduce burnout. This was manageable. This was fair. When I got home that night, I told my boyfriend, 32M. We've been together for 2 years. We moved in together around month 10, which was fast, but felt right at the time. He's sweet, calm, and stable. Everything I thought I needed after burning out on casual dating and chaotic relationships in my early 20s. He's always said he wants a peaceful life, a family, kids eventually, a house with a garden, a partner who comes home every night, cooks dinner together, builds routines. I've always admired that vision, even if I didn't fully share it when we first met. From the beginning, I was upfront. I didn't want kids until my 30s. I wanted to focus on building my career first. He said he understood. He told me he admired my ambition, that he'd never met someone so driven. But when I told him about the promotion, his face fell. At first, he didn't say much, just asked how often I'd be gone. I told him the truth. For weeks a year, not consecutive. Probably 1 week every 3 months. He nodded but didn't smile. The room felt colder after that. He made an excuse to go for a walk, and I just sat on the couch staring at the offer letter in my inbox, wondering why I suddenly felt like I'd done something wrong. That night, he didn't say much. The next morning, he asked if we could talk. He told me this wasn't the life he wanted, that he didn't see himself with someone who'd be flying around the world, that it felt lonely, maybe even disrespectful, that I would choose something like this when I knew what he needed. He said he felt like I was picking work over our relationship. I told him I wasn't choosing anything yet. I just wanted to talk. I reminded him that I'd always been upfront about my goals, and that 4 weeks of travel wasn't exactly abandoning him. I'd still live here. I'd still come home. I'd still love him. He said he didn't want to come home to an empty apartment every few months, that he wanted someone grounded, someone present. I asked if he'd feel the same way if I were a nurse doing 4-night shifts a week, or a consultant flying twice as often, or a teacher attending conferences. He said, but you're not those things. You don't have to be this person. You're choosing to. That hit me harder than I expected. I dropped the subject for a few days. I figured maybe he needed time to process it. I did too. But earlier this week, I brought it up again. I told him the company needed an answer and that I really wanted to say yes, but only if we were okay, if we could talk through what this would look like. Maybe he could join me on one of the trips. Maybe I could adjust some of the timelines. I was willing to compromise. That's when he said the words that I haven't been able to stop hearing in my head. If you're going to keep pushing this, even after I told you how I feel, then I think you already know what you want. And maybe you should just pack your bags and leave. I blinked. I asked if he was really saying he'd break up with me over this. He said it wasn't an ultimatum, but that if I moved forward, it would tell him everything he needed to know. I didn't sleep that night. I just kept thinking, is it really that unreasonable to want both? To want a relationship and a career? Is that selfish? I started thinking back to all the small ways I've already bent over backward to make this relationship work. I passed on an earlier opportunity to lead a cross-functional team because the hours conflicted with our shared evening routine. I've skipped networking events to make it to his family's Sunday dinners. I've started to actually imagine what a future with kids might look like. Not because I was pressured, but because he made it feel safe. But now I feel like none of that mattered. The second I got something big, something that meant something for me, it became a problem. He says I'm changing, but maybe I've always been this person, and he just didn't want to see it. I keep imagining two versions of my future. I take the promotion. I do the work I love. I travel occasionally. I grow. Maybe I'm single again, but I'm also proud. I wake up every morning knowing I didn't betray myself. I say no. I stay. We settle into the life he wants. I try to find meaning in smaller moments. Maybe we're happy for a while, but deep down, a part of me wonders every time I see a plane take off or a title change on LinkedIn. What if? I don't want to resent him someday, and I don't want him to resent me either for taking a life he never signed up for. So Reddit, AIEA for wanting a promotion that might cost me my relationship?